As pre-releases for Minecraft 1.14 have rolled out, Mojang has continued to hold back on a lot of information. That was until April 17th. On the 17th, Minecraft 1.14 pre-release 4 was released to the world, and with it, information regarding the future of the Village and Pillage update was brought to our attention. Alongside the update came news on Twitter from Dinnerbone. In his tweet, Nathan stated, "If all goes well, we will be releasing Minecraft Java Edition 1.14, the Village and Pillage update, on Tuesday." Excited? We sure are. You can already try it early and help us see if there's any scary bugs that we've missed. So, there you have it. It's coming out on Tuesday, and we couldn't be happier. On top of that though, on the Minecraft.net website, some very interesting news regarding snapshots was also released, which we'll talk about in a few. In this video, we're going to talk about that news, talk about 1.14, and ask a very serious question once again. Is Minecraft 1.14 ready? So, without any further ado, let's get right into it. So, like we just said, Minecraft 1.14 pre-release 4 is officially out. On top of that, the Village and Pillage update as a whole is coming out on Tuesday. What's interesting though? If we're lucky, Minecraft 1.14 pre-release 5 will be the final pre-release before the official release, and that comes directly from Mojang, stating, "Update, we're now on pre-release 5, and we expect this to be the last pre-release before the full release. We aim to release Village and Pillage for Minecraft Java Edition on Tuesday, April 23rd. So, good, it's official. As far as waiting goes, we're in the end game. Being only 5 pre-releases in, this one's kinda awesome. When 1.12 was being released, 7 pre-releases passed. When 1.13 was developed, there were 10 pre-releases. 5 definitely isn't a bad number. Not to mention, Mojang is hitting their goals fairly well right now. 1.13 felt like it took legitimately forever, even though we're technically only 6 or 7 weeks ahead of their update window. Mojang has been wasting no time getting content to us, and I think that's very obvious. Looking at 1.14, what still needs fixing? Well, that's actually a tough question. It can go a lot of different ways depending on what you're asking. As it sits right now, it's all pretty good. However, there are definitely things that might need some changing. Depending on who you ask, raids might need to be tweaked quite a bit. While Michaelmcchill, the writer and editor for this video, thinks that they're pretty good in their current state, he understands that some people might feel a lot differently about it. Some people might want it to be easier, some might want it to be harder, etc. In his opinion, in their current setting, he thinks it's a very good setup. You obviously won't accidentally walk into a village and start a raid. It's something that you really are only able to do on purpose. So, if you think they're too hard, make sure you've got the necessary items. Use that time avoiding a village to gear up. Then, return and fight it out. Don't want to deal with it? Then drink milk. If you activate a raid, it's pretty much your fault. While any potential changes to raids, if at all, would probably be fairly minor, only because of the need to finalize the design and functionality of the current system, it's not bad. Raids are pretty decent. The only reason I mention them to begin with is because they're literally half of the update. Being able to village and pillage are pretty important elements of something called the Village and Pillage update. Things like ringing a bell during a raid and applying a glowing effect to illagers is a pretty good addition. Making a pillar and having to climb up it wasn't exactly something that people wanted to have to deal with. Considering the effect is only applied for a short amount of time, it's a perfect change. It's smart and only gives you an idea of where they are, especially considering they run around so quickly. While the pillaging part is obviously questionable, I'd argue that the villaging part is pretty set in stone. With everything they've done, villages and villagers are pretty great now. Their jobs, their designs, their corresponding blocks, everything about the villagers screams well designed. For as long as the villagers have been in game, they've been lacking. Quite literally, almost all of the changes made to villagers feel well placed, and I wouldn't directly argue many of Mojang's choices on the manner when it comes to villagers and villages. Mobs like foxes might also need some changes, but not many. Something that people desperately want is to be able to tame foxes. If you ask me, the trust system is useless. Ocelots officially lost any functionality, and while a cute and perfect addition to the game, foxes could be more interesting if they were tameable, which we did make a video about. Ocelots need something too. Whether this comes in 1.14.1 or whatever, something does need doing with them. We are officially seeing more and more useless mobs get into the game, like the polar bear. While I wouldn't remove the fox, I would definitely tweak them, as I just mentioned. For a video that I did exactly on that subject, you can check out the card on the top right corner of the screen. Mojang, if you're watching, please consider changes like this. I'm not talking easy mode taming, I'm talking complicated domestication. As far as things that need changing, however, there's really only a few things that I can think are potentially major, and even then, they're not that major. Foxes are cool on their own, and if you think that raids are too difficult, just overgear them and wait it out. You don't have to run and gun into a raid the first time that you set eyes on one. You can wait. It's not a timed experience. It can be early game or end game. Either way, you just have to test your limits. Mojang, quite literally, has been ironing out the game massively. The playing experience is pretty smooth now. My biggest complaint, teleporting, was fixed. Seriously, that was my biggest problem with 1.14. Days before the pre-release that came around and fixed that problem, I was dead set on making another video talking about the issue and attempting to stress my opinion on the matter. But they made teleporting work, so now that video is not necessary. While yes, there are a few bugs that Mojang may need to fix, they've been squashing them fairly well since the pre-releases started coming out.
5
pre-releases in, and they fixed 108 bugs, and those are only ones that are listed on the website. That's a lot, and some of those bugs were fairly major. Some of those fixes involved mobs like baby foxes drowning in water, plantable foods like carrots not being able to be eaten, zombie villagers spawning without biome-specific skins, enchanted books not being able to be fixed on a grindstone, and more. Arguably, they've fixed one of the biggest glitches that raids ever had during these snapshots, where pillagers would just go to the town center and attack the air. That ridiculous behavior has finally been tweaked, and they actually seem like they have some fairly decent AI now. While yes, there are occasionally still some glitches, that's usually what you get when you have two AI complexly trying to either kill or stay alive, especially in a game like Minecraft with randomly generated structures and therefore fairly randomly generated pathing systems. So to put it simply, they're on a bug hunt and they're doing a pretty good job. But we have to answer the real question here. Is 1.14's Village and Pillage update ready for primetime release on April 23rd? At the time of writing this video, late at night on the 17th, yes, I think it is. For a little while, myself and Michaelmcchill have claimed that, if they decided to, they could have dropped the update on us a week ago. Considering the release is coming out on the 23rd, that gives them 6 more days as of writing this video to make any final adjustments. I firmly believe that they have enough time. Any changes that Mojang makes in the coming days will undoubtedly change 1.14 forever, or at least until 1.14.1. Nonetheless, the update is going very smoothly so far. Mojang seems to be making sure that the update is sturdy, nailing down every single little thing that they think is loose about the update. In its current state, I do think that 1.14 is fine. Again, yes, there are some issues, but I would argue that those issues are hardly vital to the overall functionality of the release. If we're talking about bugs, torches aren't even supposed to be able to break sand, but somehow that's still in the game nearly 10 years later, and I don't think anyone would want that removed. Being able to now crouch and crawl in Minecraft could also be seen as something that Mojang might want to tweak. While I certainly hope that the functionality stays in the game because of its ability to be used, used and how cool it is, it definitely isn't hurting anybody, even if its functionality is sort of unintentional. Whatever your opinion may be on these features though, if you want any changes to be quickly made in the next few days, you really need to utilize the feedback website for the game and make your voice heard. Mojang can always push back a release date, but they can't redo a first impression. But what do you think? Do you think that 1.14 is ready for prime time? What do you want to see that's not in the update? And is there anything that's in the update that you think Mojang needs to tweak? Let me know in the comments section down below. But other than that, that just about does it for me for now. If you guys enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like on it, because it would really help out myself and Michaelmcchill, who co-wrote and edited this video, the channel and the video quite a lot. But anyways guys, I hope you all enjoyed. My name is AntVenom and I bid you all farewell. Thanks so much for watching.